So we'll continue from where we have left in the last lecture. So this is your JK flip-flop. So the JK flip-flop is the flip-flop which overcomes the problem of our SR flip-flop, in which we have that invalid state problem when both the inputs S and R are equal to 1. So in this case, what we do to overcome the problem of invalid state, or the state in which that should be avoided, so that is overcome by connecting two NAND gates and by cross coupling the by providing a feedback from Q and Q bar. The feedback from Q is provided to the NAND gate which have input as Q, whereas the Q bar is feedback to the gate which have the J as the input. We don't know the reason why that J and K are used, because for SR flip-flop, S and R stands for set and reset. For D flip-flop it was data flip-flop or delay flip-flop. For JK flip-flop there is no known reason that why they are called J and K, but this is the modification, and in this modification these gates are 3 input AND gates. Okay, so that is what the thing is. This is the symbol for your JK flip-flop. When clock is 0, the circuit is inactivated, the circuit is not active, the JK flip-flop is not active. When the clock is 1, in that case you can see that the behavior of the circuit is same as the SR flip-flop, except the case when both the inputs are 1. So when both the inputs are 1, the circuit toggles. Why it toggles? Because you see, if this K is equal to 1, if you make both of the inputs J and K equal to 1, and if you consider the clock also equal to 1, and you assume that Q is equal to 0, okay, so if Q is equal to 0, Q bar will be equal to 1, so that Q bar equal to 1, so all the inputs of this gate will be 1 simultaneously. So if all the inputs are 1, then this will be 0, okay, and if this is 0, you will find that after combining this, because one of the input is low here, so the output here will be high. So this is 0 and this is 1. Now the circuit will now this is the same circuit as you have used in an SR flip-flop. So this portion now will work as an SR flip-flop, and you will see that if S is 0 and R is equal to 0, R is equal to 1, so then the flip-flop output set will be equal to 1, this Q will be equal to 1 and Q bar equal to 0. So you see, earlier you have assumed it as 0, but now it has changed to 1. Now again when this particular 1 feeds back to here, so then you will see that it will become 0 and this will become 1, and again the transition will take place. So the output keep on changing, so it will keep on changing from 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. So that is why it is called the toggle. So that is why it is called that the output is toggling. It is same as an unstable multivibrator. Okay, so if you want to understand it with certain analogy, then you can assume that it is a sort of unstable multivibrator in which neither of the state is stable. Okay, so the output, the states keep on changing. So that type of kind of circuit is called the multivibrator. So JK flip-flop is sort of an unstable multivibrator. So now you can convert any given flip-flop to any other flip-flop. You can use a D flip-flop to, this we will see in detail in the next lecture, but you can convert, you have the simple steps with which you can convert any given flip-flop to any other flip-flop, okay, and it is easy, it's not difficult. But the thing is that we can realize a JK flip-flop with the help of a D flip-flop by using some combinational circuit, okay. The symbol remains the same, and this truth table also should be, the circuit should be able to realize the truth table. Now in this JK flip-flop there is another problem which comes up, and that problem is called the race around problem. In the race around problem, what happens, and this problem occurs when both the inputs are 1. If both the inputs are 1 and the clock duration is too large, okay, it is large compared to the propagation delay of the circuit, then the output does not there is a competition between 1 and 0, because when the clock pulse will transit from high to low, then at that time we don't know the output will be whether 0 or 1, okay. So that is why it is called the race around problem, because we don't know, we cannot predict what will be the output, and that purely depends upon the propagation delay of the circuit. If the propagation delay if you reduce the propagation delay, then the output can be 1 or it can be 0, okay. So to overcome this problem of race around, what we do is, there are three solutions to overcome this problem of race around. First of all, we have to remove that particular cause because of which it is coming. So it is coming because your clock pulse duration is greater than the propagation delay. So the first solution is that you reduce the clock duration, okay, the on duration of the clock, okay, and that on duration of the clock should be less than the propagation delay. If you make that, then your circuit will not have any race around problem. Okay, but if you cannot do this, then you have the another solution, which is that you start rather than triggering the circuit on the level, you start triggering the circuit on the edges. Okay, so whether you either you trigger the circuit on the rising edge or on the falling edge. If you do so, then it is called a edge triggered flip flop, and in this case your duration will be the clock duration will be far less than your propagation delay, and you can overcome this problem of race around condition. Then there is the third solution. When the when the edge triggering method was not invented, at that time people used to use master slave technique. So in the master slave technique, what we do is, we rather than using a single flip flop, we use two flip flops, and the clock pulses are connected together of these two flip flops. The first flip flop is called the master flip flop, and the second flip flop is called the slave flip flop. What we do is, the basic idea is, we separate the input from the output, so that the transition, okay, does not takes place instantaneously. And to do that, what we do is, we put an inverter in between the clock. So if we apply a 1 here, so then this inverted, okay, so this the slave gets the inverted clock here. So then what happens, if this input is 1, then this input, the input at the clock of the slave will become 0 at that instant, and because of that, this particular master will get activated when clock pulse is equal to 1, but slave will be deactivated. Slave will not remain active. Whereas when the clock pulse becomes 0, at that time master gets deactivated, whereas the slave gets activated. So earlier, when the master was activated, okay, or when the master is active, at that time the input is transferred to the intermediate output, that is the output of the first flip flop, the master flip flop, and then later on in the next half of the clock pulse, this output of the first flip flop, which becomes the input of the second flip flop, gets transferred to the output, and because of which, what we do is, we overcome this problem of race around, okay, because the transition, the propagation delay will not affect our operation of the circuit, and the race around condition is avoided. Okay, so this is what the master slave technique is. So this master slave technique, what I have explained you is like also explained in this slide, so you can read it out very easily, it's not difficult. Okay, and then you can express the same thing in the form of truth table, so I am not explaining this whole thing. Then the last improvement is your T flip flop. So the problem, I mean this toggle situation, the toggle state, we use in another flip flop which is called the toggle flip flop or the T flip flop. So T stands here for toggle. So this flip flop particularly, whenever the input is 1, the output keeps on changing. Okay, so if input is 1, then output will be 0. If you make input 0, then the output will be 0. Then the output will be there will be no change in the output. But if you make T is equal to 1, then the output will change. Okay, so if the earlier output was 0, it will become 1. If it is 1, then it will become 0. When it will become, when by applying T is equal to, whenever you apply T 1 at the T input, and this is the symbol for your T flip flop. And how you do it? You take a JK flip flop and then connect both the inputs of a JK flip flop together. So if you do this, then it becomes a T flip flop, and this is the truth table of your T flip flop. So if clock is 0, then the circuit is deactivated, it won't work. If clock is 1, then only the circuit works, and if T is equal to 0, there is no change on the circuit. If T is equal to 1, the circuit toggles. Okay, if there is 1 on the input, it will become 0, and if it is 0, it will become 1. Okay, now you can realize, as I have told you, that you can realize T flip flop with the help of D flip flop as well. So this we will see in detail in the next lecture. Okay, now let us move on to the analysis of the sequential circuits. So whenever we have to analyze sequential circuits, at that time we may have to start from the logic diagram, and we may require its state diagram and the state table later on. But it may be also possible that we have the state diagram. If the problem is described in words, then we can draw its state diagram very easily. Then from that state diagram, and this particular thing we will use in our counter designs as well. So whatever statement is written, first we will draw its state diagram, and then we get its state table, and then by that state table we find the Boolean equations, and then those Boolean equations are used to get the logic diagram. Okay, otherwise what we can do is, the another thing is, if we have a sequential circuit in front of us and we want to analyze it, so first we have to write the Boolean equations for it, then we write the state table for it, and then we get the state diagram for it. So we will see this procedure, that how to do and what do you mean by state table and state diagram in this few slides. So let's say we have a given circuit and we want to analyze this circuit. Okay, so what will be the output here? So that's what we want to know. So what we will do, first of all, we will identify the input. So let's say this is the input xt, and these are your this two flip-flops. So if there are two flip-flops, they will store something. Okay, so they each flip-flop can store 0 or 1. Okay, it can have two states, 0 or 1. So two flip-flops can overall have 4 states. Okay, so the two flip-flops can have 4 states, and how the transition takes place and what will be your final output, you can analyze this with the help of this circuit. And why, I mean, these state diagrams are important in this case, because in case of combinational circuits, you just apply the input and you get the output, whereas in case of sequential circuits, okay, what you have is you have certain states in between, and those states also get feedback to the input. And if this is the situation, then you have to consider the present state as the input, and corresponding to that present state you have to find that what will be your next state. So that is why you want to write the state diagrams and the state tables as well. Okay, so to write the state table and the state diagrams, first you have to write its state equation. Okay, so state equation or the Boolean expression to express the circuit can be easily written by looking at the connections. Okay, so how the connections looks like. So you see in this particular case, you can see that if you want to write the expression for 80 plus 1, so then 80 plus 1 will be equal to what? Because you see, finally you have to write the expression in terms of the input and the output. So y is your input, okay, y is, sorry, your output, x here is your input, and there will be some intermediate states. So the Boolean expression will have that intermediate states also in that equation. So our final equation is something like this. Okay, if you see the connections, then this is this. But this particular equation, we have to consider the present states and the next state also in this equation. And this equation, to consider the present and next states, we have to write the expression in the outputs, intermediate signals A and B in terms of AT plus 1 and AT and BT plus 1 and T and T plus 1. So that is what I mean. So if you write the equations, then you can see that the equations will be as per the connections. Once you write the equations, then you may have to write the state tables, and most of the times when you are analyzing the circuit, you have to write. So what is a state table? So a state table is nothing but a table which shows the present states, the inputs, and corresponding to this inputs, okay, on the present state, if the circuit is in the present state and if you apply these inputs, then what will be the next state and what will be the corresponding output. So such a table which gives this information is called your state table, okay, and this becomes very important in case of sequential circuits. So you see, you can very easily understand, and it is like a truth table. So you can easily understand it here by looking at the truth table itself. So if your present state is 0 0, then and your input is 0, okay, you can analyze, verify it from your previous the circuit also. So then your next state will be 0 0 and output will be 0. Okay, whereas if your present state is 0 0 and your input is 1, then your next state will be 0 1. Okay, and output will be 0. So this is how the circuit tells you. This is how this is what the circuit tells you, and this you can verify from the equations also. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the tutorial class related to it. Okay. Now from this state table, you can get its state diagram also. So what is the state diagram? So the same information again you write in the form of pictorial representation. So that pictorial representation gives you the transition of the states. that for particular conditions, which particular condition the transition takes place. So what is this state diagram? So you see, this is like, say suppose your circuit is in a particular state when both A and B are equal to 0, 0, and if you apply some input x is equal to 0, so your output will be equal to 0 and the state does not change, the state remains same. Okay, so AB is equal to 0. So you see, the circuit remains in the same state, and this is what you can verify from your this also. So you see, this is also you can verify from your truth table. So if your present state is 0, 0 and if your input is 0, then your next state will be same as the present state and your output is 0. Whereas for the second row, if you verify, if your present state is 0, 0 and if your input is 1, then your next state will be 0, 1 and your output will be 0. So this, if you draw, you can draw it here. So AB is your present state, and if your input is x is equal to 1, then your output will be y is equal to 0, and your transition, the circuit is transiting from one state to another state. So earlier it was in the 0, 0 state, and by application of this input, the circuit transits to the another state. So this is how you represent it. So the remaining this states and the arrows just depicts or the explains that particular thing only. So this particular, let's say as there are two flip-flops, so there will be 4 states because 2 to the power 2 is equal to 4. Okay, so one flip-flop can remain in 2 states. So here as there are 2 flip-flops, so the number of states will be 2 to the power 2. So the circuit will remain in 4 states. So the states are shown by the circle here, whereas whether it remains in the same state or it moves to the another state by application of input is shown with the help of these arrows. If the arrows terminates start from the state and terminates on the same state, then it means that the application of the input does not the application of that particular input does not change its state. Okay, and here whatever is written here is your output. Okay, so sometimes here in this diagram I have shown you x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0 separately written, but in usual state diagrams this is not mentioned. So whatever is written first is your input, and whatever is written after your this slash will be considered as the output. Whereas here in the state circle also, the state is represented by a circle. I have shown you the inputs A and B, but usually this is not shown A and B. So you start from the MSB and ends with the and at the LSB. So this is how you write these states. Okay, so you can verify this state diagram, and this state diagram should match with your state table, and the state table should match with your circuit and the Boolean expression. Okay, so I think you try to verify them by your own, and if you have any doubt, you clarify this with me in the tutorial class. So with this I end our today's class, and thank you to all of you for listening this class. Thank you.